Welcome, Sister Alice. And if I'm not mistaken, you are connecting from South Sudan. Am I right?
I am connecting from Uganda, but I am based in South Sudan. I came here on a mission, so I said I will not miss to take this interview wherever I am.
Wonderful. Thank you for taking care of the
Mm,
interview.
thank you.
Sister Alice, how do you
Yes.
resonate with the theme of the USG plenary for this year, which is embracing vulnerability in a synodal journey?
I resonate with this theme very well as a woman, religious woman. In the world where I live in Africa, as a woman religious, we live in a world of fragility, a lot of violence, and it is difficult to understand the suffering of the people. There is that poverty, and then we experience different phases of vulnerability in terms of financial poverty within the congregation and also in the society, economic difficulties, and even ideological issues. How people understand us as religious is completely out of their understanding. It's like as a religious, I've taken a path less traveled by many in the society. And at the level of the church, I realize as a woman religious, I don't have firm footing in the dioceses. For example, my congregation is of diocesan right, but you find that your voice is not really well heard. The clergy in the parishes do not do rarely include you in decision making. There is always constant battling with having our voices heard, as if we are not part of the Catholic Church. So this is my how I resonate with this aspect eh, of the theme.
Yes, and we have a keyword which is vulnerability. And you mentioned something, but I would like to ask you, how and when do you experience vulnerability at the personal level?
At the personal level, Patricia, eh, I feel vulnerable in various ways when I'm not listened to. For example, by the hierarchy of the church, I feel vulnerable. For example, you as a congregation, you take certain decision at your leadership, top leadership level, and then when you hand it over to the church hierarchy, the bishop, and then he doesn't take any action, I feel vulnerable. Also, that is feeling being ignored in matters that are constitutional. It's like an open rejection of you as a part of this church. And also, personally, I feel I live among the poor people, and as a congregation, we are not that able to help the poor as we would like to help. So in that cases, I feel vulnerable because I'm not able to help the people who come to our doors. And then the other one is the situation of insecurity in the South Sudan. That is beyond our control. And as you might have heard, last year in August 16, two of our sisters, we were from a good celebration and we were coming back home, and two of our sisters were shot. As a superior general, as a member of the congregation, it was beyond my control. And they died for nothing. And then lastly, the situation of refugees. Some of my sisters are working among the refugees. The issue of internally displaced people and also refugees is also beyond our control. So I feel vulnerable, even as a superior general. That is what I cannot respond to and fix it up. Thank you.
Yeah, we remember when the sisters were shot last year. I guess
Yes.
that it's very difficult to deal with this situation when you are a leader. So,
Yeah.
Sister Alice, actually, we have been experienced during this COVID time a bigger
Mm.
weakness and vulnerability for leaders. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel, as a leader, dealing with this new situation? Also, after COVID, we will have a new situation in the religious life and society. So, which is how do you cope with this vulnerability of a leader?
As a leader, the only way of coping with this situation is keeping in touch. Thank God to technology now that we have the phones to call the sisters. Maybe the sister is not well, maybe the community is deeply affected. We keep in touch. So far within the congregation, we have not been able to set Zoom meetings and things like that, but be able to call them by phone and talk to them. The definitely the COVID situation that knows no boundary has accelerated vulnerability at every facet, to the point of even some people suffering up to death. And then the issue of insecurity still in South Sudan remains a very poignant point of feeling insecure, and the insecurity gives rise to poverty, because when there is insecurity, people cannot move to look for what they can for their families. Even as we cannot reach out to the peripheries as we should to meet the poor people, we are not able to go, especially after now physically experiencing the killing of our sisters. We just find we are very vulnerable. And then the other aspect is imposed policies by government, which overrules the congregational rules. It becomes very difficult for us, especially in our province of Uganda, where policies from education and health, sisters, once they are placed in a certain place, you cannot transfer them. So it becomes very, very difficult for us.
Sister, which is the main challenge from your point of view for religious life in Africa in this time, in this moment?
The biggest challenge is financial insecurity.
Mhm.
Financial insecurity. Because without money, you cannot help even your own sisters. Cases of sickness, cases when they expect the superiors to go and visit them, we have to plan. We don't have maybe the right vehicles to reach them because most of our roads are not good. It requires a very strong land cruiser, strong cars, which we are not able to afford. So sisters are starving and longing for us to reach them. And then also the bigger system in the country, like now for last 2 years I've not been able to go to Sudan because I'm a Ugandan passport holder, and the visa for me to go to Sudan has not been easy, and the sisters there really are expecting me. So these are really the most important issues: uh, financial insecurity, and then insecurity at large, and then the bigger political system.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, sister, because actually listening to you, we become aware of the variety of needs and also the differences within religious life throughout the world.
Mhm.
So, and
Yeah, yeah,
UISG is here for all the congregations with their specific needs. So, thank you for
yes.
that. I
You're
would like
welcome.
now to move more on on a synodal journey. When do
Mm.
you experience synodality for instance, in your congregation? When do you experience that in your congregation or in the church?
Yes, I experience synodality where I am based in South Sudan in the Archdiocese of Juba. We are many religious congregations and the local clergy. Many times we came together to celebrate joyful events. Like this, since 2019, most of the dioceses have been celebrating the centenary of the faith, and the sisters got involved in all these preparations, really joyful things. And then also moments of sadness when we lose our sisters, or the diocese loses a priest or any other person that we know. We all come together to pray for that. And then also with the youth, they are hungry always to be directed. And after Christmas here, one parish in Juba, they organized to raise money for building their church, and we supported them by buying the tickets so that we can go to the local theater and see the Christmas carol, even though it was outside of Christmas. But we were there to listen to these young people, and they were delighted that we came to support them, and we had a good traditional dance together. So I feel that is really a path of synodality, and in that kind of space, when the priest comes and the sisters are there, it is easy to speak to these young people, how they should they should conduct their lives, because in Juba we have a certain terrible culture of young people who call themselves Toronto youth. Toronto youth. I'm sure the people in Canada will not be happy to hear this, because these are young people who have gone out of hand. They take drugs, they sniff stuff, and they live very, very reckless life, stealing, beating, and even raping women. So I saw this with my own eyes on the 26th of December, when I took a walk from my generalate to go to see the postulants. There were hundreds of them, all streaming towards the airport, and then the police were after them. So their life very reckless, and this is a big problem, especially in Juba City for us. So the government and us, we still don't know how to handle this problem of the young people who have gone out of the way to live a certain culture which does not resemble any culture in Africa.
This is really a challenge for you as a sisters, and also as a church, how to
Yeah,
accompany these young people to find the sense and meaning in their
yeah,
life. This is
yeah,
really a
yeah,
challenge. Sister,
yeah.
which is your dream for the upcoming synod on synodality in 2023? Which is your dream? What would you like to reach, to see, to envision in a synodal church?
My dream is a greater collaboration, which is already happening at the UISG level, and also in our Association of Consecrated Women in the Central and Eastern Africa, a Quaker level, in terms of offering courses for superiors, leadership courses. I find it very, very good, because sometimes you are elected as a leader. Our leadership is not like the political leadership where you have to campaign. maybe you'll have prepared yourself, but in the church you are not prepared. Sometimes this vote fall on you when you are ill prepared. But now the Association of Sisters, they have realized this, and they are giving out courses that can help people in leadership to see their position, to know how they to give the skills, and also other topics like interculturality, and courses on what do you call it, culturality, and intergenerational courses, which help the younger sisters and the senior sisters to live amicably without rubbing shoulders, without name calling. So these are very important for us. Even though outside people may say, oh, African, your culture is the same. It is not. Africa is so much fragmented that in one country, like in South Sudan, there are 64 different tribes, and each tribe has its own culture. Sometimes I don't understand the culture of the other, and the other don't understand my culture. So there is a really, there should be an intentional way of preparing our religious in Africa to understand these differences, that the differences are not against you, but the differences are meant to make things better, and for the glory of God. So there is so much difference in Africa.
Thank you, Sister, for highlighting the intercultural challenge for the continent, because actually this in Europe is very easy to say Africa, and when we
Mm,
mean actually many different countries, also
mm,
French, Portuguese,
mm,
Spanish, or
mm,
English area. So
mm,
thank you very much
mm.
for underlining that. So, Sister Alice, before ending this interview with you, could you please share with us a story where, from a situation of vulnerability, you were able to let life come up?
Thank you, Patricia. I love that story because it is the story of my congregation of the Sisters of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, founded in South Sudan in 1954. And 1963, all our founders were expelled by the Islamic government of Sudan. So the young congregation, less than 10 years old, was left unguided. So they also, the sisters fled into Uganda. Um, they reunited with some of the animators, the Comboni missionaries. So in the new country where they are, these sisters were resilient. They did not give up. They remained, and they grew up in both in number and in apostolate. And my congregation now has the bigger number of sisters and even apostolate, more in the land of exile than in the mother country where they were founded. So I thought this was a very, very strong situation of fragility and vulnerability, but it turned out to be a joyful, a very pleasant story. And our founder himself, Bishop Sisos Mazoldi, did not give up. While in Uganda as a refugee, he went ahead and founded another congregation, the Apostles of Jesus and the Evangelizing Sisters of Mary, and they are now working all over the world. So this has given us also the insight that whatever bad things has happened, don't give up. The Lord is with you, and use the whatever is in the situation, and make it a joyful moment, and the Lord will always guide you. So the story of my congregation is that, like the phoenix bird rising from the ashes and flying again. Thank you very much.
Thank
Mm.
you, Sister, for this interview. It was very interesting, inspiring. We know that you are coming in Rome in May to participate in the plenary. So now you
Mhm.
have the opportunity to send a message to all the sisters religious sisters who will listen to you and who will listen your interview. So
Yes.
you can send them a message.
Right now,
Yes.
okay. To all my dear sisters consecrated in the service of God, this journey, the synodality journey, is an opportunity for us to tell our stories, to tell our stories, uh, share our stories, and the different stories that we have is really meant to build us up in carrying on the faith in our Lord Jesus Christ, and whatever opportunity that is offered there, like on webinars, we need to open up. I know technology gap is big. Like today is my first time to do this, but with a little help and encouragement, I have been helped to communicate with Patricia on this theme of the plenary. So let us not be afraid. We can risk a little, but knowing that there will always be rescue for us. So let us open up, and I look forward to this plenary that we will come and perhaps talk more about the post COVID issues, how we can pick up the pieces where we left. There is so much we can do. Thank you.
Thank you, sister, and thank you for inviting and encouraging sisters to tell their story, which is the
Mm,
goal of this interview that we have been taking with Superior General until
mm,
the assembly. Thank you very much, Sister Alice, and we
mhm.
wish you the best.
Oh, thank you very much.